Hello, Dr. Kate here. Happy Sunday, everybody. So I wanted to check in and talk about, when you're really paying attention to how life is bringing certain things to you. You get to meet different people, different topics come up, and how we can really, if we're paying attention, allow that to really inspire us, to move us, to help us kind of tap into what's going on out in the world outside of our own experience. And I find that it's really powerful when we're in a receptive mode to do that. And so I'm offering to share a little bit about my experience with that today. I've had a chance to meet some people this week, different women in business that are all working on different things in themselves, and I'm trying to get out there more in my local scene right now, and that's been really exciting because what I'm being open to is seeing what people are working on, seeing what is difficult for people, and really being able to show up and recognize where I can be of service. Instead of like, here's what I do, and then go find the people that are going to match that, I'm sort of doing it from, let's see what shows up in my life. So I had a powerful experience talking with a gal. I'm going to do a guest podcast with her on her podcast, and it's about narcissistic abuse. And she went through her own experience and has just become a great person of service to people, having information, access to support, and recognizing, a large amount of people that struggle with this, right? Having been in a partnership of some kind, or maybe in a work situation where they were dealing with narcissistic abuse. And I shared my story because that's something I went through myself in my marriage. And it was a very powerful experience. It went on and on because I had to work with how to take care of my kids through growing up with their father having certain issues, right? And I proceeded to work with many people who struggled with those issues in my psychology practice and my coaching practice. And so I've recognized that, as professional women, that it is often, very easy to minimize and not look at how we aren't good at taking care of ourselves in our personal lives, whether that is just our own sense of self-care or whether that's where we're unhappy or even in an unhealthy or abusive situation in a relationship. And I really started thinking about how powerful this is and how maybe, hi Jane, good to see you. I've been wanting to talk to you actually. And how I've been thinking about how I could be of service to professional women who are in this situation where it's really hard to admit, right? Because we feel shameful. We feel like somehow, what's wrong with me that I ended up in this situation? And I think it's a very big problem because if you are out there in the public professional domain, you really want to keep that face that you are doing just fine and you're superwoman and you're awesome. And it makes it really almost near impossible to let yourself recognize how unhealthy a situation might be and really get the help you might need. And so I'm pondering this because, I went through that myself. I was a mother of small children. I was starting my practice and my marriage was just a nightmare and crumbling before my eyes. And I had to figure out how to manage that. And, it's a very tricky thing when you are skilled in your domain of your work. You're very skilled and you're talented and you're able to be of service and help. and you don't want people to think that you're not good at that, even though you have this personal life that's very painful and very struggling, and not knowing why this is happening and why it's so hard to walk away from, to deal with, to get it better. And part of that, has been a lot of work for me to see what that was about for me, and what did I have to do in myself to forgive myself, to understand what that was about, to know that I got the lessons I needed to get, all those pieces that are so powerful. And I'm very excited about this possibility of really specially going into that area, as well as just professional women who have a really hard time prioritizing their own well-being, because that's another area that I had to really get good at too. And I know how hard it is, especially when you are dedicated to your job, to your work, and your success in your particular area, your clients, and how hard it is to figure out, like, it's possible. It's not only possible, it's like essential we figure out how to do that self-care while we're doing that. And it doesn't have to look like, these grand leaps and changes. It can be these small little changes that start to have such a powerful effect. And I actually just recently wrote an article that I'm hoping is going to get published by Thrive Global about how to prevent burnout by addressing your well-being in these very subtle ways that, are things we already do, like how we eat and how we sleep and how we move around and how we take breaks and how we try and stay positive. Just simple things that can make a huge difference. So I'll keep you in line of whether or not that gets published. So I guess I'm coming back to the theme of how sometimes, if we're receptive and open, our life can kind of guide us along. It kind of leaves these little breadcrumbs, and we can follow along them and see what's there for us that we might be inspired by. We might be, excited about, that we never had that idea at that moment, right? And now it's like, wow, that's something that could really impact my life in a powerful way. Especially when we get out and meet people and be open to seeing, what are people challenged with the most out there? What are other people's stories, right? That's the best thing about getting out and meeting other people, is we get to get out of our own little story and go and hear what's going on with other people's stories. And for me, of course, it's always trying to see, like, how can I be of service in the best way? Like, what's that going to look like? Because I'm really open to this sort of morphing transition I'm in that is helping me see, like, where I'm supposed to be and how I'm supposed to be serving people the best. So I hope you're having a lovely Sunday. I hope you're listening to your own guidance and be thinking about what you want to be focusing on this week from a loving, supportive place for yourself. And we'll do intention check-ins tomorrow morning. And thanks for joining me. And I'll see you soon. Bye.